obviously the numbers speak for themselves in terms of what the trade deadline moves did for this team's fortunes. But even before they got here, when y'all just what kind of lift energy boost did it give to y'all when y'all heard they were making all these acquisitions when you were still below 500 at that point?
Yeah, well, it started with Jock, getting him. I think that was a kind of a boost we needed. We were just treading water all year, kind of just playing 500, a couple games under 500 all year. And when Alex went out and got Jock, and it kind of just brought a sense of energy that it just showed us that they still believed in us, and to go add at the deadline, and then losing Ronald, the day before All-Star break, and then Ian pitched the last game of the All-Star, and we knew he was going to get an MRI during the break. So a lot of us were just like, what's going to happen during the break? And it was almost perfect timing, really, to just kind of like take a break, relax. We had just lost, in my opinion, the best player in the National League for the whole season, losing one of our young studs potentially, and just everyone just go away, and that's kind of what happened. And then Alex went out and changed our whole outfield. Got Jorge, Eddie, Adam, went and got a reliever and Richard. Just a huge boost of confidence. And, guys started coming in, we started playing together, a couple lineup changes in the last couple of weeks, moving Jorge to lead off. We've been mixing and matching, trying to figure it out all year. It's been an absolute grind. And I think that's what's so special about it this year, is because I felt like we've been grinding all year, trying to figure it out, and we came out with 88 wins and the division title for the fourth straight year through all our ups and downs, and losing the best player in the National League, and thought we were going to have Mike Soroka in April. It never happened. Just so many things that could have derailed a season. We didn't let it happen. So I think the deadline and Alex going and getting those pieces just kind of just gave us that boost of energy to make it.
Freddie, this group has done this now in the postseason. There's a good group of you now for a couple years in a row. You talk about now the second half of the season, how you guys are feeling. What is different coming into this postseason for you guys?
I think it's just we have the expectation to win now. 2018, I think we just surprised everyone. We were just happy to be there again after going through a rebuild. 19. It just didn't work out for us. 20, we had Ronald was a little banged up, Ozzie was a little banged up, but we still got one game from the World Series. And this year, even though we lost Ronald in July, we played with this group that we have right now for the last 2 months, and it's been a whole different team. We played like 630, 640 winning percentage team, so it's just a whole different outlook for us and how we feel going forward and the way we finished. I feel like the last few years we clinched with a week to go and a couple days off here and there, and this year we had to go into the last week, and then we go and win the last series, even with a couple of us sitting, the last couple games. And it's just we got a really good group, and we got a good feeling when you throw Charlie Morton, who's just there, Max Fried, Ian Anderson. We just got to feel like we're just set up very nicely to go into this, and we expect to win.
That's kind of what I was going to ask you about, the difference between last year when you go in with Max having pitched some in the postseason, but the other guys were all rookies. Your other starters, everyone was making their first postseason start. Yeah. What's the difference going in this year with Charlie Morton and Max Fried both having proven themselves, obviously, and then Ian having some
Max, what he's done in the second half is, not short of just incredible what he's done. When you put Charlie Morton as your game one and you have game two and Max Fried, you feel real comfortable and confident going into that series. And, you have Ian who went out there and did it against the Dodgers too. And we started AJ Minter in the playoffs last year. We were just mixing and matching. And now you got all these guys with experience and adding Charlie Morton to that mix. We feel real good. It's when we have the right guys to match up against their guys, because we're going against Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff and Freddie, and I think the pitching staff, the starters, it's going to be a good match, but we feel pretty good about ourselves.
Kind of following that up, Freddie, you don't see these guys too often during the year. What's going to be the biggest challenge going against their pitching staff?
I think you don't see them very often. We faced Brandon and Corbin in Atlanta. We didn't face them here, so then we didn't face them in 2020. So we haven't face these guys, and I think that's either going to be, I think that's a plus sometimes where they haven't faced us either, and we had some good success against them in Atlanta against the first couple of guys, so we got some confidence that we know we can get them. So it's I think we're set up very nicely. Both teams are like they lost Devin Williams, which is a huge factor, but they have Hader who can cover 2 innings. So and they got Strickland, Boxberger, and we got Matzik, we got Luke. I think it's an even series where it's not going to be high scoring. I don't think Corbin could potentially be the Cy Young. Brandon, who's been awesome for the last few years. Freddie's fastball Freddie, but he's been throwing slider a lot more and whole different look than when we faced him in Milwaukee in May. So it's just they're not really, they haven't really seen us and we haven't seen them. So I think something's got to give. And, I think, it's just going to be a good series. I really do.
Talked a lot about postseason experience. We've talked about it. As a player in that moment, can you kind of explain to us just how that does come in handy, when it comes in handy?
Well, especially on the road, it's going to be loud. And some of these guys didn't get to experience that last year. At Texas, we only had like 10,000 people. But a lot of these guys have played in Dodger Stadium during the playoffs, and I don't think it gets much louder than that. It's 50 plus thousand. It can be deafening, and when you get that experience, you can stay the same. You don't have to get all emotional, and when you experience once, it's only going to only help you out going forward because it is going to be loud tomorrow at the beginning of that game, and if you can just, I know how loud this is. We've already done that, and you just stay the same and don't let your emotions get out of whack and go, because your emotions are going to be going all over the place. So it's the first one that can calm it down and get going. And I think when you have Charlie Morton, whose emotions never go above a certain degree, I think that's good for us.
Freddie, speaking of the guys you got at the deadline, I mean, Adam Duvall was part of this team postseason last year, but I just thought about it. The injury in game 1 for him of the LCS, do you think for him this means a lot to get to kind of do this again with you guys?
I think so. I mean, I think we would have 90-plus wins this year if we didn't have to face Adam Duvall with the Marlins. So it's nice for him to be back with us. Just a great guy, easy to root for. And, losing him in the playoffs was huge for us because then we threw Austin Riley out in left field. We were just trying to figure it out in the NLCS. So having our group of guys healthy and going into the playoffs, it's only going to be better for us. And I think Adam wants to put on a little bit of a show, and hopefully he does it for us.
Have you kept up with Jace Peterson, and what do you think about the year he's had?
Jason and I text here and there, but I think Dansby and him talk a little bit more with their fiancés and wives and all that stuff. So Jace will text every once in a while. Yeah.
What do you think about the season that he's had here this year?
I thought he did great. He's been trying to find it for a couple of years and get that playing role, and he took it and ran with it this year. And we saw early on, Dansby and I talk a lot, so Dansby will come up to me and say, "Did you see how Jace did?" I said, "Yes, I did." And when you have guys that are your teammates and they move on, and you always keep track. I always check the Angels, the J up, and all those guys. So Jace is, one of the good ones. So we keep up with him, but hopefully not this series.
You guys being here and just flying in yesterday, the vibe of this team as they now get to kind of see this thing with the crowd in a stadium like this group you've had the last couple of years.
No, it's going to be great. I think the guys are really excited. I could kind of start feeling it yesterday when we got on the field. I was glad that the weather held at home so we could get out there and work out. Because I could tell in the workout, guys were starting to get excited about coming, and they were excited about the flight. And it's great that, their families could come with them, too, that, which is a part of it that we lost last year. And I think they're excited and anxious to get out there today to work out. And it'll be something tomorrow, too.
Snit, you guys had that big first inning against Burns. What do you remember about that game and just the stuff he had?
Yeah, just the stuff was really, really good. And, you watch video of him and it's like, God, it's even better than what I remembered, quite honestly. I watched his last game the other day and, yeah, it was, I don't remember a whole lot. I just remember I think we scored 4 runs in the first inning and which I thought, man, that's pretty good off this guy. Because you just look at his numbers. I mean, I was looking at the left and right slugs are almost non-existent against him, and it's going to be be a good challenge next couple days, this next 5 days, 3 days, whatever.
And how different does it feel this year? Last year, you go into that series starting Freed in game 1, but after that, I mean, you felt good about Ian, but you were starting 3 rookies after that, really, in all their first postseason start. How different does it feel this year with Charlie going in game 1?
Yeah, it's big. It's why we got Charlie. I mean, when we signed him, it's different. I mean, Ian's a year older, Max, Charlie. Noah's come a long way since then. And it was pretty much last year we were just putting together. Piecing it together literally for, thank God it was only 60 games. But this year, feel good. I like where our bullpen's at. I love our starting options. We've been kind of playing on edge for a long time now. So I'm anxious to get going.
We got into town this morning talking to Brewers fans here. We came in from Atlanta, and they were talking about how there's so much history between the two cities. Talk about what this series means to the Atlanta Braves organization.
No, I think it's starting another chapter of postseason baseball for the Braves. In fact, it's Milwaukee, that Hank was at both places, and I think that's a really big part of this all is Hank's memory and the fact that he was what he brought to both of these cities, Milwaukee and Atlanta, I don't think we played them in the playoffs, right? Atlanta, this might be the first time. So, it's 2 really good baseball towns. I mean, this is going to be fun.
From the outside looking in, after the Acuna injury, and I don't mean to go back in time too much, but the fact that the front office did what they did so quickly and efficiently, what did that do? Did you see a change in the clubhouse from wow, we lost a big piece to instantly, we're going to be okay?
Yeah, no, I think it's because Alex did act so quick, like you say. I mean, it was, as soon as Ronald went down, and we had been we had dealt with some other really big losses in our club prior to Ronnie going down. And I think the fact that situation was addressed so quickly, showed that clubhouse in there that we're not, nobody's going to run away with this division, and we're going to do everything we can to stay afloat and make a run at it. And I think that's huge in the mindset of a clubhouse, because those guys could, you see teams that kind of what they did at the break and things like that, or at the deadline, and the fact that Alex acted so quick showed those guys that I think everybody knew once he did that first domino drop that he wasn't done yet, that he was going to continue to pursue and actively go after and make our club better, and he did.
Snit, we just listened to Freddie and Charlie both kind of mention how experience in the postseason, maybe it's the understanding of the unknowns a little better, whether it be the crowd noise or for Charlie, the emotions he was saying and throughout a game feeling them. What about from a managerial standpoint for you, that experience? How has it changed or how you see these games, how you go into these games?
Well, again, you never know. I mean, I was asked last year, what's my best Game 7 experience? And I said, I don't have one yet. So it was, yeah, and I think every experience you have in the postseason, it's just like players. I mean, it becomes more normal, and it's something that you're, I think, ready for, and because you don't know how you're going to react till you get into that arena. And now we've been in that arena for 4 years. We're a game away from the World Series last year. It helps. It helps. Just I think the unknown, like you said, the players now. There's a lot of the unknowns that they've uncovered, and now it's, we talked about last week, the guys that are playing meaningful games in September. Some of these guys don't know anything else, which is really good. And so I think as a group, they're confident in what they're getting ready to experience. I mean, there's not as many unknowns, and so I feel really good too about where our club is in that respect.